I want to tell you about a patient of mine. Let's call him John. He was 73 years old, sharp as a tack, a man who had built a successful business from the ground up through sheer force of will. He came into my urology practice not for a sexual problem, or at least he didn't think so. He came in because his wife insisted. His complaint was simple. He was getting up 3, sometimes 4, times a night to urinate. He said it with a shrug, the way a man talks about gray hair or stiff knees. He'd accepted it as a non-negotiable price of admission to his 70s. "It's just an old man's bladder, doc," he said, forcing a smile. But as I gently probed deeper, the real story emerged. He was exhausted. Not just tired, but a deep cellular exhaustion that had stolen the color from his life. His wife was exhausted, her sleep shattered every time he shuffled to the bathroom. And then, with his eyes fixed on a spot on my floor, he admitted the reason he was really here. His sex life was gone. Vanished. Not with a bang, but a slow, humiliating fizzle over the past few years. He was convinced it was just old age, a final, irreversible decline. He saw the nightly bathroom trips and his failing erections as two entirely separate, unrelated lines on the graph of his life, both trending downwards. What I had to explain to him, and what I am here to explain to you today, is that those lines are not separate at all. They are the same line. That annoying, seemingly harmless urge to urinate in the middle of the night wasn't just an inconvenience. It was the command center for the entire demolition of his manhood. It was the engine of destruction, and he was sleeping right through the alarm. My name is Dr. Liam, and I am a urologist. For more than 30 years, my entire professional life has been dedicated to one single organ, the prostate. I have studied its every function, its every pathology, its every mysterious influence over a man's life. And what I can tell you with absolute certainty is that the health of this small, walnut-sized gland that sits at the base of your bladder is inextricably linked to your vitality, your confidence, and your sexual function. It is the gatekeeper. And the medical community, in its rush to specialize and compartmentalize, often fails to communicate the most critical truth of all. The symptoms that send you to the bathroom at 2 in the morning are the very same forces that are silently and methodically wrecking your erections. I am here to connect those dots for you, to give you the truth that is so often lost between a primary care visit and a specialist's office. It's crucial we have these honest conversations here on Senior Vigor Secrets. If this kind of direct, no-nonsense health information is something you value, and you want to ensure you don't miss these critical warnings, please take a moment to give this video a like and click subscribe below. Don't forget that bell icon so you're alerted. Your health journey matters to us. Today, we are going to dissect the anatomy of this disaster. I will show you precisely how that nightly urge, a condition we call nocturia, wages a threefold war on your sexual health. This isn't a vague theory. This is a direct, mechanical, and chemical assault. First, we will uncover the sleep sabotage, revealing how those bathroom trips trigger a catastrophic hormonal collapse. Second, we will explore the anatomical squeeze, a direct physical attack where your own prostate begins to strangle the very lifelines of your erections. And third, we will confront the psychological cascade, the vicious cycle of anxiety that turns your mind into the most powerful anti-erection drug on the planet. By the time we are finished, you will never again dismiss that nightly urge as a simple annoyance. You will see it for what it is, your body's most urgent distress signal. Let's begin with the most devastating and overlooked consequence, the sleep sabotage. As men, we have been conditioned to believe that sleep is a passive state of rest. It is not. Sleep, particularly the deep stages of sleep and REM sleep, is the most active and critical metabolic period of your day. It is when your body becomes a high-tech repair shop. It's when your brain consolidates memory, when your cells purge toxins, and most importantly for our conversation today, it is when you manufacture the vast majority of your testosterone. Testosterone, as you know, is the master hormone of masculinity. It fuels your libido, builds your muscle, provides your energy, and is a key component in the chain of command that results in a strong erection. Your body's testosterone factory operates on a very strict schedule, and that schedule is timed to your deep sleep cycles. Now, what happens when you have an enlarged prostate, a condition known as benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. The prostate squeezes the urethra, preventing your bladder from ever emptying completely. This means it refills to the gotta-go point much faster. So at 1 in the morning, your bladder sends a screaming signal to your brain, "Wake up, get to the bathroom now." And you do. You get up, you relieve yourself, and you get back into bed. But here's the devastating part. You haven't just lost 10 minutes of sleep. You have completely shattered your sleep architecture. The delicate, intricate cycle that was leading you down into that deep, testosterone-producing sleep has been blown apart. When you lie back down, the process has to start all over again from the very beginning. And just as you might be approaching that vital deep sleep stage, an hour or two later, the alarm goes off again. Another trip to the bathroom. The price you pay for nocturia is not just feeling tired. The price you pay is a state of perpetual, catastrophic hormonal deprivation. You are robbing your own body of its ability to produce the very hormone that makes you a man. I had a patient, Michael, a 68-year-old retired accountant. He came to my office because his family doctor had run some blood work and found his testosterone was shockingly low. The doctor's immediate suggestion was testosterone replacement therapy. Michael was about to start the injections, but something felt wrong to him, so he sought a second opinion. He wasn't complaining about his urination, but the first question I ask any man with low testosterone is always the same. "Michael, how many times a night are you getting up to use the restroom?" He looked surprised. 3, maybe 4 times, but what does that have to do with my testosterone? I explained to him that his low testosterone wasn't the disease, it was a symptom. It was the direct result of his prostate waking him up and chronically demolishing his sleep quality. Giving him a testosterone shot would be like patching a hole in a wall. While the foundation of the house is crumbling, you're treating the symptom, not the source of the rot. The price he was about to pay was a lifetime of expensive, artificial hormone therapy without ever fixing the root cause. We instead focused on managing his BPH. We started with simple lifestyle modifications. The most important was a fluid curfew, absolutely no liquids for 2 hours before bedtime, no water, no tea, no glass of milk, nothing. We also eliminated his evening glass of wine, as alcohol is a bladder irritant and a diuretic. These simple changes alone reduced his nightly trips from 4 to 1. His sleep consolidated. 3 months later, we rechecked his testosterone. It had risen by nearly 40%, naturally. He was fixing his hormones by fixing his bladder. Now, let's move from the hormonal to the brutally physical. Let's talk about the anatomical squeeze. I want you to picture your anatomy. Your prostate gland is shaped like a donut, and your urethra, the tube you urinate through, passes directly through the hole of that donut. Now, running right alongside this area, in a delicate sheath, is the neurovascular bundle. This bundle is the electrical wiring and the plumbing for your penis. It contains the cavernous nerves that transmit the erection signal from your brain and the arteries that deliver the high-pressure blood flow needed to create rigidity. In a young, healthy man, there is plenty of room. Everything functions perfectly. But as BPH develops, the prostate gland grows larger. It grows outward, but it also grows inward, squeezing the urethra shut. This is what causes the weak stream, the difficulty starting, and the feeling that you can't fully empty your bladder. But here is the critical piece of the puzzle that is so often missed, that enlarging, inflamed prostate is also putting direct, physical pressure on that vital neurovascular bundle. It is quite literally squeezing and strangling the lifeline to your penis. Furthermore, an enlarged, congested prostate creates a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation throughout the pelvic basin. This inflammation releases a cascade of destructive chemical agents that damage the fragile lining of your arteries, impairing their ability to produce nitric oxide. Without nitric oxide, your arteries cannot relax and open. The signal for an erection might be sent, but the delivery mechanism is being physically crushed and chemically poisoned at the source. We've uncovered some hard truths so far, and I know this isn't always easy to hear, but understanding is the first step to taking back control. If you're finding this information eye-opening and haven't subscribed yet to Senior Vigor Secrets, please do, and I truly want to hear from you. Share your thoughts or questions in the comments. What are you experiencing? Perhaps your story, or a problem you're facing could be the topic of a future dedicated video here on Senior Vigor Secrets. Your input is invaluable. I remember a patient named Richard, 72, who had enjoyed a healthy sex life well into his late 60s. Then, over the course of about 18 months, his erections simply vanished. He was devastated and confused. In our consultation, he mentioned, almost as an aside, that his urine stream had become very weak and that it took him a while to get started. He saw these as two completely separate problems of aging. In my office, I have an anatomical model of the male pelvis. I showed him the prostate. I showed him the urethra passing through it, and then I pointed to the tiny nerves and arteries running alongside it. I explained, "Richard, this gland has grown, and it is now compressing these structures. It's like standing on a garden hose. It doesn't matter how much you turn up the water at the spigot. If someone is standing on the hose, the water isn't coming out at the other end." A look of pure astonishment came over his face. He said, "My God, I thought this was just a bathroom problem. I had no idea it was a hardware problem." The price he was paying was a state of complete sexual shutdown, all because of a mechanical obstruction he didn't know existed. For him, the solution was medical. We started him on a medication called an alpha blocker. These drugs work by relaxing the smooth muscle cells in the prostate and the bladder neck, relieving the squeeze on the urethra. But by doing so, they also relieve the pressure on the surrounding neurovascular bundles. Within a month, he reported a significant improvement not only in his urinary flow, but in the quality of his erections. He hadn't just made it easier to pee, he had taken the foot off the hose. Finally, we must address the most insidious part of this trifecta, the psychological cascade. Your mind can be your greatest ally or your most formidable enemy in the bedroom. An erection requires a state of mental and physical relaxation. It requires your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system, to be in control. Anxiety, worry, and stress activate the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight system. This system floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol, which are powerful vasoconstrictors. They slam the door shut on the arteries to your penis. They are the chemical off switch for an erection. Now consider the mental state of a man with severe nocturia. He gets back into bed after a trip to the bathroom. Is he relaxed? No. He is in a state of anxious anticipation. So bits. His mind is racing. Am I going to have to get up again in an hour? I'm so tired. This is ruining my sleep. This baseline level of anxiety carries over into his waking life, and most potently, into his intimate life. When a moment of potential intimacy arises, instead of being present with his partner, his mind is hijacked by worry. A little voice in the back of his head is saying, "Don't mess this up. What if you have to pee in the middle of this? What if you can't perform because you're so exhausted?" This performance anxiety becomes a roaring monster. The fear of failure creates the very chemical environment in the body that guarantees failure. It is a perfect, vicious, self-fulfilling prophecy. I once had a couple in my office, Bill and his wife Linda. Bill was 70 and was getting up 5 to 6 times a night. He was seeing me for his urinary symptoms, but Linda, in a moment of brave honesty, told me the real issue. "Dr. Liam," she said, "we don't touch anymore. He won't even try. It's like he's built a wall around himself. I think he's so afraid that his bladder will act up or that he'll fail, that he's decided it's just easier not to try at all." Bill just nodded, his face a mask of shame and sadness. The psychological toll of his bladder problem had completely destroyed his confidence. The price he was paying was the complete and total avoidance of the physical and emotional connection he desperately craved with his wife. The fear of the urge had become more powerful and more destructive than the urge itself. The solution for them was a combination of treating his physical BPH and breaking the mental cycle. Once we started treatment to reduce his nightly trips, he started to get his sleep and confidence back. I also taught him a simple mindfulness technique. I told him that any time he felt that wave of performance anxiety, he was to stop, take 3 deep, slow breaths, and focus only on the physical sensation of his wife's hand on his skin. This simple act short-circuits the brain's panic response and brings him back into the present moment, away from the fearful what-ifs. It allowed him to get out of his own head and reconnect with his partner. So you see, It is a devastating, comprehensive assault. That nightly trip to the bathroom is not a footnote in your health story. It is the headline. It sabotages your sleep and tanks your testosterone. It physically compresses the nerves and arteries essential for function. And it creates a tidal wave of anxiety that makes intimacy impossible. It attacks your chemistry, your hardware, and your software all at once. To ignore it, to dismiss it as a mere feature of getting older, is one of the most profound mistakes a man can make. But my intention is not to leave you in a state of fear, but to arm you with a sense of urgent, powerful hope. Because unlike many other conditions of aging, the constellation of problems caused by BPH is eminently treatable. You have the power to stop this destruction. Your first step is not a pill or a procedure. It is knowledge. It is data. So here is my challenge to you, from your urologist. For the next 3 nights, I want you to do something very simple. Place a pen and a small piece of paper by your bed. Every time you get up to urinate, make a small check mark. That's it. On the 4th day, I want you to take that piece of paper, call your family doctor or a urologist, make an appointment, and walk in there with that data in your hand. You will not just say, "I think I get up a lot at night." You will say, "Doctor, I am getting up 3, 4, 5 times a night. I have learned that this is called nocturia, and I need you to know that I am deeply concerned about its impact on my hormonal health, my vascular health, and my sexual function." This single act of taking your own symptoms seriously is the first and most critical step to reclaiming your nights, your health, and your manhood. I sincerely hope this has armed you with the knowledge you need to protect yourself. This isn't just about avoiding mistakes, it's about choosing a healthier, more vibrant life. If this message resonated, please subscribe to Senior Vigor Secrets for more essential health truths, share it with men you care about, and let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was or what health challenges you're facing. Your experiences are important, and sharing them helps us all learn and build a stronger community right here on Senior Vigor Secrets.